Right to a channel of light fluid. By your hands. A new series for the channel here. It's described on itch.io as being an erotic murder mystery. So you know which part of that we won't be seeing. Thank you, YouTube. But being a big fan of Agatha Christie's work and Freeman Wollstonecraft's and Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes stories and so on and so forth, yeah, I'm quite interested to read this. I enjoy a good mystery story. So I'm not going to talk too much. I'll let you see what we're getting into. Dark. Dark, but warm, safe. Home. Waited for long. Made scratches with claws in stone dirt. Slept for short, woke up, then wandered around Nest Cave. Had to stay in Nest Cave. But bored. Looked outside. Didn't see Sire or Eglayer, so looked up to Hi. No light. Just dark and cold. Before, could just watch flying food when bored. Now, no flying food. Now, little running food. Insides growled, like Sire when not brood would come into territory. Empty. Hungry. Laid down, slept a little, got back up and scratched the cave walls, found rock to roll around, practiced pouncing at shadows on the rock dirt. Used to be many brood to play with, clutchmates. Could play fight and play hunt, wait together for Sire and Eglayer to return. Then not brood came, and some couldn't hide or run far fast enough. Then dark cold came, and some wouldn't wake up after sleep. Then food things started going away, and Sire couldn't feed entire brood. Sire was hunter. Eglayer could make more clutches. Growled, kicked rock dirt with bottom claws. When Hi got bright again, things would be different. Just had to wait for sound. Movement. Something near Nest Cave. Hid right by outside opening and started sniffing. If not brood, then would be in danger. Might become food thing. Couldn't fight or would have to run far fast. Sniffed. Sniffed again. Looked. Not danger. Safe. Sire and Eglayer returning. Returning with food. Smell of blood made insides growl again, loud. Sire set gathering of food things down on stone dirt. Eglayer came close to sniff and nuzzle and lick. Nuzzled and licked back, greeting. Happy, not bored. Hungry. Sound of biting and crunching. Sire was eating. Hunter always eats first. Waited for him to move away, then Eglayer pushed back flank with snout, pushed towards food pile. Lots of little food things to chew and swallow, to fill up empty insides. Buried muzzle in food pile to eat. Fresh meat and fresh blood. Good. Tasty. Chewing. Swallowing. Pain. Pulled away from food pile. Little leg thrashing, kicking. Felt scratches on snout. Tasted blood. Not food blood. More movement. Food thing was squirming out from under others. Bitten, bleeding, but not dead. Screaming and whining. Pain fear. Annoying. Chomped but got kicked again. Food thing crawled away, started limping, started running out of Nest Cave. Looked to Sire, looked to Eglayer. Roared. Food thing got away. Got growled at. Hunters don't let food things get away. Needed to chase. Needed to kill. Needed to learn so could become hunter like Sire. Left Nest Cave, following scent of blood, following tracks in the ice dirt. Cold and dark, hard to see. Walking. Running. Chased food thing that got away like proper hunter, sniffing air, sniffing ground, listening for pain cries and breathing. Couldn't smell blood anymore. Nose was cold. Started to hurt. Couldn't smell nest cave. Looked into dark ahead. Looked into dark behind. Called out to sire and egg layer. Couldn't hear calling back. Kept walking. Legs and bottom claws started to hurt. Felt tired but had to keep hunting. Had to find food thing. Had to bring back to nest cave the warm safe home. Sound of wind roaring. Sound of ice dirt crunching. Sound of water. Looked around. Couldn't see. Dark all around, but ice dirt wasn't crunching. Cold on bottom claws. Slippery. Big water. Big ice. Cold hard. Growled. Snarled. Frustrated. If food thing fell into big water, then couldn't bring home to sire and egg layer. Couldn't hunt. Turned around again. Needed to find nest cave. Needed to eat other food things. Felt cold, tired. Felt sleepy. Felt cracking. Felt shifting beneath bottom claws. Felt big ice breaking. Fear. Needed to run. Needed to get away. Slipped. Pain inside and leg. Pain and cold. Wet. Fell into big water. Roared. Called. Needed help. Help from sire. Help from egg layer. Kicked legs. Couldn't get out. Thrashed head. Couldn't get out. Scrabbled with top claws. Couldn't get out. Grew tired. Cold. Hungry. Needed to get to big water, but couldn't. Needed to go home to nest cave, but couldn't. Needed to... Dark, but warm. Safe? No, not safe. Not home. Opened eyes, but couldn't see. Weird. Wet? Water? No, not water. Thick goop all around. Covering. Still could breathe? Movement. Shadows and goopy, not water. Tried to growl, snarl, roar, bite. Couldn't. Heard sounds. Tried to understand, but couldn't. Again and again. Annoying. Saying something. Again. Calling name? My name? Calling again. Rex. Leave me alone. Let me sleep. Rex. Just 5 more minutes. Rex! Yeah. I jerked awake, staring up at the white ceiling above me. My thoughts were still swimming around my heavy head as I was pulled out of the dream into reality. By what? By that voice calling for me. A familiar voice. I scrambled out of bed and tangling myself from the sheets, over to the intercom on the wall. Pressed the button to answer. I'm up. I'll be down in a few minutes. Hey, don't tell your daddy too long. You don't want to be late on your first day, do you? No, sir, Dr. Abraham. As soon as I took my finger off the button, I sighed and kneaded the corners of my eyes. It's been a long time since I had that kind of dream, let alone that intense. Well, I guess it could actually be called more of a memory, but details. I huffed, shook my head. I didn't have time to think about the past when the future was waiting for me to get off my ass and greet it. So I made my way into the tiny bathroom attached to my bedroom, splashing some water on my face and looking at myself in the mirror. Yep, that's me. Rex Abraham. Just your normal, average dinosaur. Yes, dinosaur. Allosaurus, to be specific. It's a long story. I brushed my teeth, making sure there wasn't anything caught between them. Then after doing my morning business, I hopped into the shower. Need to be as freshened up as possible after all. Didn't want to make a bad first impression. Then I got dressed and made my way downstairs. Dr. Abraham? No answer. I checked around the living room and then the kitchen. Only found a scribbled note sitting on the counter. Need to run to the lab to check on the samples from yesterday. There's a breakfast sandwich in the fridge and some coffee in the pot. Dr. Rashid has informed me that Camille will meet you at the front gate. He'll show you around. If any issues come up, he'll be able to help out. I finally enjoyed the experience, Dr. A. I couldn't help letting out a sigh of relief. At least I have good old Camille there with me. With that, I crumpled the note up and tossed it into the trash bin. Then I rifled around in the fridge to find my breakfast. Egg and sausage. Nice. While it was heating up in the microwave, I poured myself a cup of coffee. Took a deep breath in, letting the smell wake my brain up the rest of the way. Let it out in another heavy sigh. Just like Dr. Tanya taught me. Breathe in while counting back from 10 in your head, and when you breathe out, imagine you're blowing all the tension and anxiety away. My sandwich was done. I only took a few bites to finish the tiny thing, washed down with the last gulps of still hot coffee. After that, I grabbed the house key that had been set aside for me and made my way out. Bright blue skies up above, not a single hint of cloud cover. The leaves were already starting to turn, hints of orange and yellow in the green. So much colour it almost made my eyes hurt. Still had to get used to that. There'd be plenty of opportunities to do so over the coming year. It's a bit of a jog to my destination, but luckily I was built for that. Just had to make sure after passing through the gate out into the public streets to avoid any large crowds. At least it was still pretty early. And apparently anyone making their way to work around this time would rather drive than walk. Got harder staying conspicuous the closer I got to my destination though. The University of Mammoth, one of the largest, most prestigious in the state, and one that once partnered with the lab where Dr. Abraham worked. There were so many other animals, other normal average students, busting through the front gates, milling around in the main courtyard, minding their own business. I caught the occasional glance my way as I joined them, but everyone seemed more preoccupied with getting to class or meeting up with their friends than taking notice of me. So far, so good. It was difficult to find Camille in the crowd, though. All the different species, including many I'd only ever seen online or on TV. Horses and mice and rhinos. I took a close look, but no luck. A bear here and there. A couple of dragons sitting beside a griffin by the fountain, and a group of songbirds chattering away next to the wall. Oh, no, wait. Those were wilds. They darted forward and the lizard tossed the remains of his breakfast onto the ground nearby, then scattered when a bull in security uniform rushed over to shoo them away. Hey, Rex! I almost jumped out of my scales when a feathered hand landed on my shoulder. Connor? Don't just sneak up on me like that. The rooster just laughed and gave me his widest shit-eating grin. You gotta pay more attention to your surroundings, man. Humph, dick. I'm a cock, thank you very much. I rolled my eyes and aimed a light punch at his shoulder. But even so, I couldn't help letting out a quiet laugh to match his own louder, squawking one. Connor Gordon. He's one of my best friends back when I was a kid. His uncle used to work at the lab along with Dr. Abraham. Maintenance or security or something. Can't really remember. And since he, Camille and I were the only children around, we ended up getting really close with one another. Speaking of, have you seen Camille around anywhere? Really? First one, who knows how long since we've seen each other, and that's the first thing you say? Well, yeah, we've never been really missing you, man. All three of us are going to be here this year, and we can start hanging out again like we used to. Oh, I like that. It's really been way too long. So, what have you been up to? Keeping yourself out of trouble, or getting into it? Oh, listen now. Mostly just keeping busy at work. Don't earn your keep out here in the real world, you know. I see your dad finally decided to let you out of the lab to join us, huh? Yup. It's the perfect opportunity to combine enrichment and socialization to a level appropriate for a young animal of my age. He snorted in my attempt to mimic Dr. Abraham's tone of voice. Then he slung an arm around my shoulders, giving them a jostle. Well, and stick with me, kid. Get all the enrichment and socialization you could ever want. Who are you calling kid? You're only a year older than me. First lesson, don't take everything so literal. We both shared a laugh, him clinging on to me while I did my best to shove him away. It was like we were kids again, like all that time since we'd last seen each other hadn't happened. Of course, the fun couldn't be drawn out for too long. Our roughhousing started to draw some attention. A tiger, a lion, and a wolf were making their way over. The moment he noticed them, Colin's grip around me tightened as his smile turned into a scowl. God damn it. Yeah, well, what do we have here? What do you want, fucker? That's Tucker to you, pipsqueak. The wolf huffed and snarled. The tiger, Tucker, held up a hand and his underling backed up a step. What I want is to introduce myself to that new face I see moseying onto my campus. He turned to bare his teeth and made a wide grin. As my friend here said, the name's Tucker. Tucker Thompson, to be precise. And he's my right and left-hand men respectively. Liam, Wyatt, say hello to our new friend here. The lion, Liam apparently, just gave me a silent nod. That's right, you better remember those names. You want to have a good time here at Mammoth. Otherwise, well, I'm sure you're smart. You can figure things out. He gave me a pat on the shoulder. I batted his hand away. Sure, I'll keep that in mind. What even are you? The lion was staring at me, examining me, probing and curious, sending a familiar tingle of tension up my spine. For I could spout when the lines Dr. Abraham always used when I'd have to be together in public, Tucker spoke up with a snicker. Yeah, Liam, just thinking the exact same thing. I've seen a critter like you around here before. Those teeth of yours look pretty apex for a lizard. What, did your dad fuck a dragon with downs or something? Liam grunted. Wyatt let a loud, obnoxious ow. Tucker was smirking, satisfied with himself at that crack. Deep breath in, slow breath out. Blow away the tension and anxiety. Still, I couldn't resist firing back. I'm sure your mom has plenty of experience with that. That got to them. I barely noticed the approving pat on the back that Connor was giving me, nor the laugh he was letting out. I kept my gaze locked onto Tucker. Had to give him his sight, watch his movements. What did you just say to me, lizard? You heard me. Oh, what, are those ears of yours just for show? Do you fucking know who you're dealing with right now? Oh, what's the matter? Big kitty on campus can dish it out, we can't take it. Don't talk shit you don't want it thrown back in your face. Wyatt rushed forward again with a snarl. You're a little... down, boy. All it took was that and a glare to get the wolf to back off again. Ears tucked, tail between his leg, but still giving me a quiet growl. Then Tucker took a step closer. Another. He was doing his best to loom over me. Grabbed the front of my shirt, yanking me in close. You'd better lose that attitude really fucking quick, you know what's good for you. Oil what? Our eyes remained locked. I could feel the tension in my jaw. My hands were bored into fists at my sides. Then I heard a voice, a familiar one this time, calling out. Rex, there you are. Camille. Just in the nick of time as per usual. Hey, Tucker, could you let go of my friend, please? This guy's with you? As soon as the tiger's grip loosened my shirt, I jerked myself away. Couldn't get far, though, before the car cadet slung an arm around my shoulders. Yep, him and me go way back. Why don't you show him around the campus since he's new here? I see. Well then, we'll leave you to it. Just make sure he behaves himself, you hear? Tucker sniffed, then turned on his heel to stalk away, tail lashing behind him as he went. Liam followed, as did Wyatt. Little Wolf took a moment to point towards his eyes, then towards me, before trotting after the pair of felines. Heh. First time out and about on your own, you're already getting into trouble, huh? Hey, they came up to me. Don't take it personally. Fucker and his cronies try throwing their weight around with everyone. They're not that bad when you get to know them. I'd rather take a long dip in a deep fryer, thank you very much. Connor scowled, arms crossed and brow furrowed. One of these days, someone's going to give those guys what they deserve. Come on, Connor, don't joke about stuff like that. More importantly... He grinned and reached over to pull Connor in close as well, his free arm around the rooster's shoulders. Connor, how the heck have you been, huh? Just trying to keep on keeping on. You know how it is. Well then, why didn't you tag along when I show Rex Shearer around, huh? He looked from me to Connor, then back again. Could be like old times. The three amigos ride again. Sounds like a real blast, yeah. Sorry to say though, I gotta run. Can't say I really want to take ended up not having enough people sign up, so I kind of been rushing to get something in that spot on my schedule. Oh. Connor pulled away, giving me Camille a shrug and a rueful smile. Thanks, but what can you do? Alright then, have fun running around like a chicken with your head cut off, man. Ha-dee-ha. I'll see you guys later, alright? Sure, later. Maybe we can catch up during lunch. Maybe. Without another wave, the rooster turned off to head through the milling crowd. Speaking of schedules, your first class today's in half an hour, right? I rifled through my pocket, put out the once crisp paper Dr. Abraham had given me last week. After unfolding and smoothing it out, I looked it over. Yep, looks like it. Alright, looks like we got double timing on the tour then. Yeah, let me show you where the different lecture halls are. Then we can swing by the library on our way to the history building. Cool. I'll drop you off there and show you around the rest of the campus after classes. Sound good? Sounds good. Lead the way. With a hearty pat on the back, Camille began showing me around. I kept my eyes on my surroundings. All the buildings in so many different styles. The green grass and tall shade-giving trees. The winding paths and all the animals going here and there and everywhere. It was a lot to take in. So much after so long just staying around in the pristine uniform Starkent style lab complex. But I had Camille with me, and Connor would be there too. I could do this. So began my first day at the University of Mammoth. And so, with a compromise in place, the apexes and the secondaries could begin cooperating to advance their respective societies. Took a couple more centuries for primaries to gain recognition as sapiens, of course. But once that came to pass, society in general saw massive advancements, both technologically and culturally. The bison down the front of the room paced back and forth as he talked, gesturing with one hand. Professor Baker, Mr. Baker as he insisted on being called, had welcomed us all with a smile and a wave. Introduced himself, then ran through the syllabus the semester to get everyone on the same page. After that, probably in an attempt to engage with all of us students, he started asking us what we knew about world history. I guess it was still too early in the morning, or maybe nobody else was really interested in the topic. The only reason I'd given him a blank stare and stayed quiet was because, well, I didn't really know anything. Sure, Dr. Abraham had given me the basics. If you'd asked me what the Vespuccian Compromise was, or who James Defoe and Albert Thompson were, I wouldn't have been able to tell you. So, looking a little disheartened, Mr. Baker decided to run through the basics with us. Now, as you can imagine, progress didn't come very easily. Primaries were understandably reluctant to subject themselves to the compromise, being the very bottom of the food chain and all. Apexes, meanwhile, didn't want to lose their main source of nutrition after they'd formally recognised the secondaries' rights of sapiens. The secondaries already abandoned their cultural funerary rites in favour of letting the apexes eat their dead. Why should they too have to give up a staple of their diet? However, both groups had their hands forced by the livestock rebellions of 1801 through 1833. Given the choice between all-out revolt and peace, the apexes and secondaries chose the latter. They called a special session of the Compromise Congress, bringing an end to the rebellions by offering the primaries membership as well. Thus, they formed the Triumvirate Congress, which has continued to govern in Vespucci to this day, and inspired many similar movements throughout the rest of the civilized world. Now, things should have been resolved there and then, but it's seldom so simple. Both apexes and secondaries began seeking alternative sources of meat, since primaries had been granted officially recognized rights of sapiens as part of their congressional membership. Wilds, however, were a different matter entirely. After all, they had long ago rejected integration with the civilized primaries, secondaries and apexes in favour of a more feral way of life. Or perhaps, as some argued, they simply lacked the ability to abandon their feral instincts. In any case, by 1935, Hunt had reduced the wild populations to dangerously low levels. The primary caucus, perhaps remembering their own trials and tribulations, introduced the Wild Protections Act that same year. It passed in a joint session, despite filibustering from the apexes. Both hunting and trapping were banned, and wild preserves were created where they could breed and repopulate in peace. Incidents of poaching did continue to occur, of course. However, in 1941... No! Every single animal in the room jumped to that scream. It sounded like it's coming from out in the hall or maybe the next classroom over. Either way, whoever it was didn't sound like they were having a good time. I said no! Stop it! Just stop! 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 After a few moments of dead, stunned silence, the door creaked open. All the other students started murmuring to one another as the female elk slipped inside. She made her way to the front of the room and, with an apologetic look on her face, whispered something to Mr. Baker. "Ah, I see." I let out a heavy sigh. He turned to address us with a clearing of his throat. "Sorry for the interruption, folks. Everything's fine. There's nothing to worry about. There's been a little incident out in the hall, but it's been taken care of as we speak." He nodded to the elk and she slipped back out of the room. "So then, let's get back on track, shall we? Can anyone tell me what year wilds were first given formal legal protections? How about you? Rex, was it?" I strained up in my seat when Mr. Baker pointed over at me. 1935, sir?" The bison smiled. "So you were paying attention. Good, very good. Some of you could learn a thing or two from Rex here." I could feel a few pairs of eyes on me, making the back of my neck itch. All I could really do, though, was slump down in my seat and duck my head. "Now, let's switch gears a bit, shall we? The purpose of learning from history is to build up context for an understanding of the world we live in today, after all. So, can anyone tell me what effect the Wild Protections Act has had on legislation currently going through congressional approval? Anyone?" The remainder of the morning was pretty uneventful. I finished up Mr. Baker's history class and had health and calculus after that. I ran to Connor outside the lecture hall in the math department building, and he offered to walk with me to the dining hall. How could I refuse? It's my first real chance to catch up with him. "Telling Mr. Baker's Intro to World History class this year, huh?" "Yeah." "Yeah, sorry you got to deal with him, especially first thing in the morning." I mean, he wasn't that bad, other than assigning 3 chapters to read on the first day of class. Well, I guess it is the first day. "Here's another lesson for you, young one. First impressions are not everything." I rolled my eyes at that young one comment, and aimed a punch in his direction. "Too slow." "So, how are you liking things so far?" "It's different, but pretty neat, actually." "Are you feeling enriched yet?" "Mostly I'm just feeling hungry." I looked towards the food area of the dining hall. So many steaming dishes and platters, all set out for the students to pick and choose from as they pleased. Sandwiches and soups, ribs and roast. What are you in the mood for? I couldn't help shooting him a smirk. "Anything you'd recommend, oh wise one?" "Yeah, I think I'll go grab a burger or something at McCree's. Not really feeling anything they've got set out today." "You sure? I mean, we're already here." Besides that, I've been looking forward to having lunch with him, talking and catching up and just hanging out while eating together, just like old times. Yeah, I got some assignments I've got to finish up my afternoon classes anyway. We should just grab some McCree's and find a place in the park to study and trying to do it here, you know? Made a show of looking around the noisy seating area. I blinked. Wait, how'd you already have assignments due? First day homework, man. Been really busy at work lately, so I kinda didn't do it yet. A sardonic smile and pat on the shoulder. Listen, before I go. The rooster's grip tightened as he lowered his voice. When you order here, or at McCree's or anywhere really, they're going to give you a little receipt along with your meal. Yeah, I know that. I'd seen that receipt once or twice from the scientists who would bring their lunches into the lab from outside. That receipt, you can see a code telling you where the meat they used came from. You should keep it and try looking that code up sometime. Sure, I guess. Why though? He shrugged. Oh, it's good to know who you're eating, right? After giving me another pat, he stepped away. Alright, well, I'm going to head off then. Catch you later. With that and a wave, Connor turned to head out of the dining hall. Huh, weird. After watching the rooster make his exit, I turned back towards the buffet-style spread and grabbed a plate. I have to admit, my mouth started watering when I took in the heap of fresh fried chicken they just set out. Oh. I moved down the line. Maybe a burger would be a better choice after all. Luckily they had an entire selection to choose from. Hamburgers, cheeseburgers, with or without bacon, even some veggie burgers, the primaries. Once I grabbed a nice heaping meat-filled burger for myself, I got a drink from the line of soda fountains and tried to find a place to sit down. A couple of empty tables here and there. I was no stranger to eating by myself. That was a pretty common arrangement both at home and in the lab. Only difference was the number of animals who would also be around. Maybe I could find someone to sit with? Dr. Abraham had said it himself. I needed to experience socialization with others in my age group. All my life, I'd only really had Camille as a friend, and Connor back when we were kids. It'd be good to get to know some of my fellow students. I took another look around. So many animals, all talking with one another, chatting about classes, what they were doing that night, or whatever else they had in common. Didn't really see anyone look particularly approachable, other than that orca sitting all by himself at a smaller table in one corner of the dining room. He had his head down, staring at his plate while poking at his food. Looked to me like he didn't have any friends either, at least none that were around. Let's see if he minds us sitting there, I guess. Hey, is the seat taken? Wasn't sure if that was the best or smoothest way to approach the other animal. It was the best I could do. He looked up at me, blinked, stayed quiet for a long moment, mouth opening and then closing. What? This seat, can I sit here? His eyes darted down to my hands, he patted the back of the chair. Then he dropped further down to his plate once more. Yes, if you want to. With that, I sat down while trying to give him a friendly smile. Closed-lipped, naturally. Thanks. I'm Rex, by the way. Owen. Owen, huh? Nice to meet you. Well, making new friends seems to be going great so far. I looked down to my plate, picking at my food. I cleared my throat. I glanced at Owen, then down to the orca's tray. So, fish, huh? Yeah. Cool. Is it any good? Oh, I like it. I'll have to try next time then. Can I ask you something? I blinked, swallowed my mouthful and nodded. Sure, what's up? Were you in the history building this morning, like around 9ish? Yeah, I've got Mr. Baker's morning class there and then. There was someone yelling about something out in the hall, but I didn't really get what we're about. Some kind of incident or something? Owen ducked his head and fidgeted with his fork. Sorry. For what? Sorry for that. The incident. Wait, that was you? Come to think of it, now that I got to hear more of Owen's voice, it did sound pretty familiar. The orca looked like he wanted to sink into the floor, so I stared at him. He stared down at his plate and stayed quiet. So, you have classes in the history building too? I could see the tension drop from his shoulders immediately, even had a quiet sigh of relief. It's been really wound up or whatever had happened. Yeah, I'm taking history as my major, so I spend a lot of time there. Oh, cool. Which courses are you taking this year? Spoochie in the 20th Century World, History of Northern Palea, and Intro to Public History. Sorry. I really like history. Hey, no problem with that. It's pretty cool you're so passionate. I finally got a small, shy smile from the orca. As a matter of fact, is it alright if I ask you something? Sure. The orca cleared his throat and ducked his head back down a little. I mean, sure, go ahead. So, I've kind of been homeschooled all my life, and I'm a little behind on, well, everything. I was hoping to find someone to study with, to help me out, you know? And since you seem to know your stuff, well... It was his turn to blink, just staring at me for a long few moments. Do you want to study with me? Well, if you want, we could also hang out and do other stuff too. So... His eyes dropped down to his plate, darting around. His lips pursed together. He gave his lower one a few nibbles and then they formed another small smile. I think that'd be fun. Sure. Great. Guess I'll need your numbers. We can set something up sometime. The orca's cheeks started getting a little pink. Okay. I pulled out my phone and Owen pulled out his. We exchanged numbers. Then I sent a quick text to him to make sure things were all squared away. After that, we continued making small talk while eating. At one point, he winced and rubbed his cheek. He'd apparently bitten it. I gave him a sympathetic look, but didn't comment on or call attention to it. From his expression, I think he was grateful for that. Eventually, we both finished our lunches and went our separate ways. Guess I could make new friends on campus after all. And so the day continued on. I had biology after lunch, then jazz band practice after that. Dr. Abraham had encouraged me to try out learning an instrument, and I decided to go with the trumpet. Didn't really know what to expect, but the first lesson at least was pretty fun. Then after that was over and done with, I was free for the rest of the day. Took a walk around the campus for a bit, ended up right back in front of the history building. After our lecture with Mr. Baker in the morning, I was curious to learn more about everything I'd missed out on, more than just the very basics. So I headed inside and up to the second floor where the faculty offices were. Let's see. Professor Baker. There. I finally found the door with Mr. Baker's name on the nameplate. Brendan, huh? I lifted my hand to knock, ready to call out and ask to come in. The syllabus said he had office hours around that time, so he should have been available. I cocked my head, stared at the door before me. It sounded like Mr. Baker, all right. But was something going on? The sounds continued from inside the office, huffing and panting, grunting and groaning. I had an idea or two of what the bison might have been doing, but in the middle of the day, in his office, during office hours when anybody might walk by and hear him. There was a surge of heat in my face, and as I continued listening to the older male's husky, muffled voice, felt a steady pulsing start up in my suddenly too tight pants. Looking up and down the hall, humming to myself, shifting from foot to foot, closing my eyes to think about something, anything, other than what was probably happening in Mr. Baker's office. What Camille was probably up to, the confrontation with Tucker and his goons that morning, my other classes and the coursework I needed to prepare for the next sessions. That did it. I continued to wait. And wait. And wait. Finally, there's one last strangled cry, leaving very little doubt at all what had just happened. Then Mr. Baker's voice fell silent. I couldn't hear any more noises, lewd or otherwise, filtering out from behind the door. Finally knocked and called out. Mr. Baker, it's Rex, sir.
Oh, yes, Rex, give me a moment if you would.
The sound of shuffling from behind the door, sound of footsteps approaching, sound of a slow, deep, calming breath and the clicking of the lock.
Hey, do you need something?
He was leaning against the door frame, fidgeting with his tie. I did my best to keep my eyes on his face, knowing both the slight hint of red under the fur and how strange his smile was. Ignoring the faint, unmistakable, familiar smell of a sexually active male, tinged with the bison's unique aroma, which was wafting off of him. Ignoring the small wet spot drying on the thigh of his pants. I had some question about what we talked about in class this morning, the whole Vespuccian compromise thing.
Ah, yes. Well, if there's anything I can clarify for you, then I'd be happy to do so.
Go on in, we'll have a seat. He kept the door wide open while stepping back, letting me follow him to his office. As soon as I stepped through the doorway, the reason why hit me right in the snout like a brick. The smell of the older virile male filled the room. Strong, just decided pungent, with a musky tinge that got things stirring in my pants once more. Underneath it was another unfamiliar scent, weird and somewhat woody, but also faintly sweet. It was almost enough to make me wrinkle my nose, even as I felt the heat returning to my cheeks. Luckily, Mr. Baker didn't seem to notice my hesitation. He plopped into his chair like his legs had just given out from underneath him, and flopped a hand in the direction of a plastic one next to the desk. His other hand settled on his thigh, covering the still damp stain there. As soon as I took a seat, he spoke up.
So, the Vespuccian compromise.
I understand this might be a difficult topic to talk about since, well... He gestured to himself, then to me, a tentative smile on his face.
Well, I consider it's the foundation upon which our modern society was founded. It's truly important that we...
Another vague, loose-wristed gesture. Understand it, sir?
Oh, yes, exactly that. So to start us off, what is it you'd like to know?
Took a moment to gather my thoughts, then asked for clarification on a couple of points that had been bothering me during the morning lecture. First, what was holding the various species back from advancing until they signed the compromise? An excellent question, according to Mr. Baker, and one you go over more in depth as the year went on. Second, how did the apexes keep from over-consuming the secondaries, and the secondaries were the primaries? Was that part of the compromise too? Yes, although more as a formality to foster goodwill. In truth, the various species groups had kept strict control of their population growth, both regulations on breeding and pure natural instinct. The primaries, avid breeders as most of them were, made up most of the population. The secondaries comprised a proportionally smaller piece of the pie, and the apexes a smaller piece still. Those of the lattermost group, despite their smaller numbers, had still maintained their place on top of the food chain, both literally and politically. Last but not least, was there really such a huge difference between wilds and sapiens? And why would some animals not want to be civilized like everyone else? The first question was a pretty thorny one, the bison admitted. Biology wasn't his strong suit. As he said during class, there was dispute over how intelligent, how capable of sapience wilds even were compared to their civilized cousins. As for the second question, there were many reasons. Lack of opportunity, lack of will, a preference for the feral way of life. Again, he'd go over the details later on in class. As he spoke, I couldn't help but notice the bison acting strange. His gaze would wander away from me from time to time, or grow unfocused while he stumbled over his words. Occasionally he'd even trail off right in the middle of his sentence, and I'd have to clear my throat to make him continue. If there's something on his mind, distracting him, making him stop and stammer and look away from me. He hadn't heard me outside the door while he was busy, had he?
So, are there any other questions you have for me, Rex?
I halted that train of thought, cleared my throat and shook my head. No, sir. I think I pretty much got it.
Good. In that case, I'll let you go. You should find the reading for next time pretty enlightening.
The bison shifted in his seat, making the desk chair creak underneath his bulk.
Listen,
He cleared his throat and started tapping his finger on the desktop.
I'm glad you've shown initiative in coming to me with these questions of yours. You seem like a bright young animal. You're Dr. Abraham's son, aren't you?
Well, that was a shifting topic.
Yes, sir.
He nodded, murmuring to himself.
Yes, I see. Dr. Abraham and his lab have been partners with the university for quite a while now. I've even met him a few times myself. And, well, I'll just cut to the chase. There's a seminar at the local Museum of Natural History on prehistoric animals today. And considering your father's line of work, I was wondering if you'd be interested in going. I'll give you a ride there and a ride home afterwards, if you'd like.
Okay. What brought this on, sir?
I'm calling my one good deed for the day.
The bison let out a quiet laugh.
I understand if you'd be reluctant. I mean, we have only just met each other outside of class, and a stranger danger and all that.
And the sharp clearing of the throat.
But, well, I thought I'd offer regardless. So, what do you think?
I have to admit I was pretty tempted. Images of what the older male may have been up to earlier kept running through my mind, then another pulse of heat to both my face and my groin. And now that older, handsome, bulky and burly male was offering to take me somewhere off campus, just the two of us. It's enough to make me swallow hard to wet my suddenly dry throat. Well, sir,
You don't have a concrete answer right now, of course, but, well, it starts at 4:30 and I was hoping to leave around 4 to get a good seat. So come find me in the North parking lot around then if you'd like to come along.
All right.
So,
he rose from his seat with a strained smile.
If you need anything else, you know where to find me now.
I stood as well and gave him a nod. Sure do. Thank you, Mr. Baker. There didn't seem anything more to say, so I gave the bison a tiny wave and turned to leave his office. As I made my way out into the hallway, I nearly ran right into Owen. Oh, hey there. There's a tiny smile on his face as he shifted from foot to foot. Oh, hi, Rex. Sorry if I was running into you. No problem. Should have been looking where I was going. Are you going to see Mr. Baker too? Cool. I'll leave you to it then, and see you later, yeah? Later. He gave me a nod. With a wave of the orca, I headed downstairs and out of the building. I'd just taken in a deep breath of fresh air when Camille called. Hey man, where are you right now? Right outside the history building. Why? I'm just finished up with football practice, so why don't we meet up and I can show you around some more? Don't come over to the practice field. Just a short walk from the library. Or I could go meet you in courtyard. I'm fine with either or. Your choice. Which way is it from the library? You're going to face the main doors, turn to your right, and it's straight ahead down the sidewalk. You literally can't miss it. See you in a bit, man. Yeah, see you. I hung up, made my way over to the library, and proceeded to follow Camille's directions from there. The practice field was a large clearing on its own block of the campus, with what I guessed was the athletic complex across another road to the side. All wooden bleachers had been set up to line the grassy field itself, guessed for the team members to watch or rest during practice. Some males in football jerseys were hanging around those bleachers, talking with one another, laughing as they joked around. Some like the older ones were giving pointers to the newbies. Camille was in the middle of the group, arms crossed over his chest and a broad smile on his face. As soon as he caught sight of me, though, he broke away from the group and jogged over. Salam, well, you're pretty quick, huh? I nodded, greeting him with a smile. I don't want to keep you waiting too long. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Me and the guys are just finishing up. Go on, have a seat on the bleachers a while. Hey, Camille, we're heading over now. You coming with? A bear wandered over from the group as well, probably see what was going on. Yeah, be there in a sec. Alright, just, coach said about taking too much time in the locker room. I give it the hustle you showed on the field, Rashid. The bear chuckled and reached down to give the Karkadan a hearty smack on the ass. Yeah. He grinned wide and aimed a punch at the bear, which the other animal dodged with a chuckle for trotting away, and Camille turned to me. Yeah. Cleared his throat. Gonna go shower and change real quick. You wait here, alright? Sure, can do. Are you? Before I could finish, he turned and made his way back over the waiting group. Maybe he didn't hear me. I watched Camille and his teammates head over towards the athletic complex, still chatting and horsing around with one another, then took a seat on the bleachers to wait for the Karkadan. Probably wouldn't be too long. He did say he just needed a shower and change after all. He looked pretty hot, sweaty, from his hour at football practice. And I couldn't stop thinking about that smack to the ass his teammate had given him. All the way that round, firm backside had bounced in his tight football pants while he and the others headed to the locker room. All those muscle-bound males stripping out their clothes together, showering together, wet and naked, scrubbing themselves down into the steaming water, together. I broke myself out of that train of thought. Didn't know what had come over me. Maybe I still think about those sounds I heard coming from Mr. Baker's office. I've been aroused plenty of times before, of course, whether from looking at porn online or by my own imagination. After all, I was a strong, healthy post-adolescent male. So Dr. Abraham had started saying during my early physicals at the lab. As such, it only made sense I'd experienced certain urges. I'd never mentioned to any of the researchers that those urges were directed towards other males, but hey. Camille's different though. He was my best friend. I couldn't think about him that way, no matter how big and built he'd become over the years. Or how form-fitting all his clothes were, leaving pretty much nothing of his body to the imagination. Or how good the Karkadan male smelled. Or how bright and cheery he was, how much I liked getting up close to him. His thick arm around me, his bulky chest rubbing on my shoulder. With a strangled groan, I pressed my thighs together and hunched over. Hopefully anyone who looked my way would just think lunch wasn't agreeing with me. Hopefully no one noticed the throbbing tent I managed to pitch in my pants. You okay, Rex? The way I jumped and grunted, not screamed, was probably pretty funny for an outside observer to witness. Also probably didn't reassure Camille. Fine. I'm fine. How are you? Okay. The Karkadan stared down at me, one brow perked upward. I'd been so caught up in my thoughts I guess I hadn't heard him approaching. At least the embarrassment washing through me was helping take in my not-so-little problem. I got up and brushed myself off, then cleared my throat for trying to give him a reassuring smile. Sorry. I think it was something I ate at lunch. I'm feeling better now. Alright. After another moment to look at me up and down, he shrugged. So, you ready? Think so, yeah. And where are we headed next? Over to the student centre, you said. Yeah, get you familiar with the place. Maybe see if we can't sign you up for a student group or two. He chuckled. Yeah, I'm really glad you guys then you attend college here. I mean, don't want you to stay cooped up in the lab all your life, right? Get you out and about and socialising. Making friends that aren't me and Connor. With a smirk, the Karkadan gave the center of my chest a light punch. Really like hanging out with you, man. But go head out and spread your wings on your own sometime, you know? I'm already ahead of you there. Got a study buddy in my history class and everything. Well, hey, look at you. I'd say the more the merrier, right? Speaking of... Hey, over here! He turned to call out that last part of the pair a short distance away from us, lifting a hand to wave them over. Yeah, what's up, Camille? That's when the two of them noticed me. What's he doing here? All I could do was look from Camille to Wyatt and back again. Wait, you aren't thinking about... A pat on the back cut off my words. Camille laughed, bright and cheery as always. I'm going to be showing Rex here around the campus a little more. You guys want to come with? Liam shrugged, completely dismissive. Wyatt was once more growling and giving me a glare. I stared back at the wolf, both my jaw and my shoulders tense. Alright, come on you two, that's enough. He gave me a jostle and Wyatt a stern look. I know you guys got off on the wrong foot. There's no reason to keep going for each other's throats. Hey, you weren't there when this guy's disrespecting Tucker, man. I would have said anything he wasn't such an asshole. Seriously, stop, both of you. He let go of my shoulders and took a step forward to stand between me and the wolf. Look, Rex is my friend, so I'd really like if you guys could get along with each other. At least be chill, okay? He turned to look at me, pleading. Same goes for you. I know Tucker can be a lot to deal with, but these two are great. Just need to get to know them better. Please? Damn it. I never could argue against the Karkadan when he pulled that face. Alright, fine, but I'm not going to like it. Let's give him a shot, okay? Well, if it was for his sake, I guess I could deal with having the wolf lying around for a while. I don't know how you're seeing this guy, man. If he's with you, then guess we can hang with him for a bit. He crossed his arms over his chest, flicked one ear, and then looked to his feline companion. Right, Liam? The lion gave Wyatt another shrug. May as well give him a second chance. Wait, who in the world decided they were the ones giving me another chance? I looked at the carcadan and gave me another look in return. With a sigh, I decided to just drop it. Deep breath in, slow breath out. So, what are we waiting for? Let's go! The student centre was a large sprawling building located at the very centre of the campus, so it could be reached from pretty much anywhere, I imagined. As we approached, Camille told me it had pretty much anything and everything the students would need to make their college life comfortable. A giant lounge for relaxing after classes, conference rooms for meetings and study sessions, a bookstore that also carried supplies both for class and the dorms. Even a cafe/restaurant for those who didn't have the time or just didn't want to eat in the dining hall. Wyatt was quick to jump in, saying that he, Liam and Tucker always hung out there after classes and football practice. With that in mind, I resolved to keep away from the area at all costs. At least while the trio was around. I made a mental note to ask Camille about their schedules later so I could be sure to avoid them. I wanted to be discreet about it though, since he was so insistent on us getting along. Camille led our group inside. The place seemed pretty packed already. Made sense since the regular classes already had ended by that time. Those student groups Camille had mentioned all set up booths in the main lounge area, either standing at the side or sitting behind tables while handing out pamphlets to passers-by. Some of the animals I'd seen a band practice were apparently trying to form a group of their own. I gave them a wave, but I guess they didn't see me. Wyatt dragged us over to where some sports groups were recruiting, so we could talk with some of the males from the football team. Camille chatted with them as well while staying close to me. There were fraternities, sororities, social clubs, hobby clubs, even one or two student activist groups. Though judging by the large clearing of the latermost booths, not too many other animals were interested. I always had to feel sorry if the elk was trying to wave other students over, or them to make one look at a giant wilds of people not property poster and turn away. Yeah, of fucking course. I blinked and looked over to the wolf. He scowled as he watched one particular animal wander through the crowd, occasionally stopping to offer a handful of paper slips. Oh, I just suppose he's up to. Probably advertising one of his freaky shows. The wolf snorted. Shows? Camille coughed and let a small, shaky laugh. Don't worry about it. Come on, let's... Hey, Ben, get your scrawny ass over here. As soon as he saw Wyatt, the black vulture heaved out a sigh, and he slipped through the crowd towards us. It's Vlad. He kept his voice low, even toned and scratchy. As he drew himself up, he gave the wolf a dead-eyed stare. What do you want, Wyatt? I know you're skulking around in broad daylight. Why you burn right up if you went out in the sun? He snickered. Vlad just rolled his eyes and held up one of the slips he'd been trying to hand out. I'm doing a show at Freaks tonight, and I thought I'd see whether any of you diurnals have any taste at all. So far I've been disappointed. I leaned over to whisper to Camille. What's Freaks? Don't worry about it. Even though Camille tried to shush me, it seemed the vulture heard my question. It's a club near the campus. A place for animals of refined taste to drop their inhibitions and let the truth of their selves flourish. Still even toned, still scratchy voice, still dead-eyed. So basically, a place for those who aren't like these two. He jerked his head in Wyatt and Liam's general direction. A place for guys like you mean? And your weird-ass freaks dressed up in weird-ass costumes dancing around to weird-ass music. Just stayed quiet. Considering the look that Camille was giving me, it's probably best to just keep my head down for the time being. So, that mean you're interested? Dude, do you think I want to see that? The wolf gagged, letting his tongue stick out from between his teeth. Vlad glanced at Liam with one brow poked upward. And you? Yeah, I'll leave the degeneracy to you and your ilk if you don't mind. Now, how in the world did I know you'd say something like that? The vulture sniffed. Didn't even bother offering Camille a slip. The Cargadine cleared his throat and made a grab for my shoulder. Anyway, a good talk. Come on, guys, let's head over to the restaurant. You need to fuel up after practice, yeah? He gave me, Liam and Wyatt a strained, pleading smile. Yeah, I guess. I found the rest of the freaks, Vlad. Yeah, will do. I let Camille drag me away towards the restaurant, leaving the vulture behind. He sat me down on one of the tables. Liam joined me while Wyatt and the Carcatan went to order some food. Lion tapped a claw on the tabletop, glancing over at me from time to time. So, how are you settling to campus life? Pretty alright, I guess. Good, that's good. How did you say no Camille exactly? We grew up together. Did you now? He hummed in thought, looking over at me. I see. Alright then. What's that supposed to mean? Before the line could answer, Camille and Wyatt returned. The Carcatan had grabbed himself a massive salad. Meanwhile, the wolf had bought a large container of popcorn chicken and was munching on piece after piece. Come on now, say something to the rest of us. Wyatt mumbled around his mouthful. Oh, God, help it. So good. Better than CT's? A loud gulp. I didn't say that. You want some, Rex? He held the container out towards me. Sure, thanks. I grabbed a few pieces myself, popping them into my mouth. They really were pretty good. The seasoning was delicious and the meat itself was nice and juicy. Might have to stop by the student centre for lunch sometime after all. So, where to now? Camille shrugged. I think the tour's pretty much done. We could head to the dorms or maybe the frat house and hang out for a bit. And actually, didn't Tucker say... His phone started going off. The Carcatan pulled it out, took one look at the screen and let out a tiny laugh. Speak of the predator. He answered. So damn, Tucker, we're just talking about you. Yeah. Sure, though, actually. Give me a sec. He loaded his phone to address the rest of us. So guys, look at the party's on after all. Yeah, tell him we're right there. Sure, but would you like to come with, Rex? I'll get used to college life after all, and what, by the way, in the frat party? Yeah, you mean the rest of the guys, and we could all hang out together, and maybe get the night going real well. The Carcatan waggled his brows at me, insinuating something. Probably not all I was thinking about, but still. I shifted my seat and made a show of humming in thought, only to hide the sudden surge of heat in the scales across the bridge of my snout. I grabbed another handful of popcorn chicken and lay for a while longer, chewing, swallowing. The idea of going to a frat party after being confined in a small space for so long didn't seem like an appealing idea, even if Camille was going to be there. There's no reason I should accept, especially since Tucker's hosting it. Before I could answer them, my own phone buzzed a few times in my pocket. Just a sec. Connor was texting me. Alex, do you mind meeting up in a little bit? So I need to talk to you about it. It's really important. That's when I realised I hadn't seen the rooster anyway since lunchtime. I admit I couldn't help feeling a little bad for forgetting about him, especially since it's the first time we've been able to see each other in quite a while. Just when I was about to respond, I noticed a few other texts from Owen. Hey, sorry if it's kind of short notice. Do you want to get together tonight for that study session? If we do, you will need to do it at your place, though. Would that be alright? It's okay if it isn't. Sorry. I could only guess that Owen felt more comfortable talking by text than face to face. Maybe a study session with the orc would be better than going to some frat party. Sounded more like my speed, at least, to be honest. There's also that seminar Mr. Baker had offered to take me to see. I'll admit I was curious. I mean, it's not like anything would happen between the two of us. He was a professor and I was a student. That's all it was. Anything else would be a massive violation of ethics, as Dr. Abraham would probably say. Then again, jacking off during office hours wasn't very ethical. And maybe getting good with a professor would help out a bit during class. What Mr. Baker had said, it would be anything other than an educational opportunity. But... Rex? Come in, Rex. Are you in or out? After considering my options, I decided to call that the cliffhanger, and we'll decide by next time. If you have any strong feelings about which direction you'd like to see this going, feel free to leave me a comment. I might go that way, I might do something else, I'm not too sure yet. There will definitely be an episode 2 of By Your Hands coming up probably September. But we'll definitely be doing this series through, so have no fear on that one. I'm very interested to see where all of this is going. And speaking of things going, next week there's a change in the schedule. We'll now be doing episode 3 of Polar Night. That has just come out. I haven't even actually read it myself yet. I haven't had time today. But that will be next week, which means the next weekend will be Infinite Space, followed by Nevin. So we'll have that going through August there, and August will be seeing our return to the Minotaur Hotel. I'm not quite sure which weekend that will be because I am actually going to be away for a few days. I might take a weekend off from recording just after that. I'm not quite sure yet. So there might be one video less next month. We'll see. And of course more Yalmach Chronicles. Maybe this coming week, maybe later, but definitely in August we'll have more of that story running through. And say more By Your Hands coming up probably September. I'm working on my schedules as we go along. And as usual, this episode was brought to you by my patrons and everyone else just happened to watch this. Even though you don't give me anything, I appreciate your eyeballs watching this. And let's just say I appreciate all of you. All of you. Yeah, I would do this without my patrons, but it is so helpful, and I appreciate the fact that some of you like my work so much you want to give money towards it. And I like to mention my top patrons, who are Omar, Rafu, Spiderling, Smuto, Tiger Cup, Amaterasu, Vulpers Need Coffee, Andy Peng, Aaron Fox, Bastian, Baker, Ryan Hall, Cobus Visser, Dissonance, Zigzag, Grizz, Harvest Mouse Productions, Ade Korval, Evan King, Kartek, Matt Kenya, Mario Cervantes, and Mohammed Al Zamel. And if you want to support me, get your name at the end or beginning or both of the videos, my patrons down below. More importantly, there is a Patreon link for By Your Hands, so I'll put that in as well. You can go and support them, and if we didn't have people supporting the VN devs, then I wouldn't have that much to do, to be honest. So it all links together nicely. But thank you for watching, and if the devs happen to be still with us, I hope you enjoyed this first episode. Until next time, as we head back into a polar night, thanks for watching. Bye for now.